Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions. Pastor Steve here walking with you in God's Word. And as we are in Psalm 123, small psalms within this Song of Ascents, as we've talked about Psalm 120 through 134. As we see these songs of ascents, it just continues to help us draw closer and closer to worship, to the presence of God. And that's what we have here in Psalm 123, right on the hills of Psalm 122, in the fact that as they lifted up their eyes in 121, they lifted up their eyes to the hills, they lifted up their eyes to the temple, and as they came to the house of the Lord, they were just encountered by his presence, encountered by his security and peace. And so as Psalm 123 continues to walk us ever closer to the presence of God, we get to see that his throne room, that his house of the Lord here isn't just a house that we get to see on the temple here on earth, but rather his house is the throne room of heaven. And that's what is beautiful when Jesus actually taught them how to pray, right? Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We have a God that is concerned. We have a God that loves, and that is for his creation right here on earth. But we also have a God that is majestically almighty, reigning on his throne, sitting upon that throne of heaven as well. And so a God of heaven and a God of earth is the same God, the God of compassion, the God of love, the God of security and that peace that brings that to his people right here on earth. Brings that to his people, especially the people that actually walk in humility, knowing who they are, knowing what their role is, meaning knowing that they are a part of that creation, not above creation. And that's what Psalm 123 really brings forth, of being able to know that our eyes are fixed upon you, God, and you are our master. You are our creator. You are the one calling the shots, being able to actually know how to direct me. And so continue to do that. Continue to direct, continue to give us what we need in this day by day, as you would, as your will would come, as in heaven, as it is on earth. And so let us meditate together. Psalm 123. I lift up my eyes to you whose throne is in heaven. As the eyes of slaves look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of a maid look to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God till he shows us his mercy. I just want to break there real quickly of being able to talk about this dependence, the dependence that we have upon God. And as it's saying here, it's male and female, right? It's being able to talk about the slave to its master and the maid to its mistress, of being able to say, as people would understand at that time, of being able to know that understanding of dependence. The slave was dependent upon the master, both to give work and direction, but also to give provision. The maid was in the house of the mistress, of being able to know that they would give them direction, but also provision. And so as they had this analogy, this is an analogy for us to be able to talk about our dependence upon God for our everyday, not just provision, direction, and being able to know what we should do when we should do it. And so that's where it says in this last, sometimes it's hidden in here, right? Till he shows us his mercy, as it says in verse 2 there, at the end of verse 2. And I just want to anchor in there real quickly of being able to say this. When our eyes are fixed upon God, who is our master, who gives us that security, who gives us that provision, and who gives us that leadership and guidance of what we should be doing, it's not instantaneous all the time. Till he shows us his mercy. In that little phrase there, it just begs us and invites us into patience. Patience because of dependence upon God. So often we move so quickly to be able to go in our own direction, or find our own, what we depend upon, or be able to make our own provision. But this psalm is inviting us in to the God who sits upon the throne. His throne room is in heaven. The maker of heaven and earth invites us into that presence, invites us into our dependence upon him and being able to trust him in his timing for what we need, when we need it, and then being able to guide us forward into how we can walk in that provision of God. And so it's actually a deeper walk of this slave to master, maid to mistress, but rather it pushes us towards that dependence, but that patience and trust that we can have in God, that in his time, till he shows us his mercy. He is going to show us his mercy. He is going to show us that direction. That patient endurance is always a call of faith for us to walk in. And so when he shows us that mercy, shows us that mercy in our circumstances. Verse 3, it says, have mercy on us, O Lord. Have mercy on us, for we have endured much contempt. In our patiently waiting for your mercy, show us your mercy, for we have endured. We have been patient, but under much contempt. We have endured much ridicule from the proud, much contempt from the arrogant. Because the proud and the arrogant are actually going in the direction of what the world would say. Make your own path. Do what's good for you. Make sure that you can bring about your own provision. It's just how much you're educated, how hard you work, or they put these lists together instead of being able to say, as we would say from Psalm 123, invite us into, no, we depend on God and God alone. We trust in God. Yes, we can use the gifts and talents that he has given to us with our education, with our knowledge, with our careers, whatever that may look like, to gain what we have within this world. But that can soon falter and fail. But God, in his mercy, will always lead us. He's going to lead us and actually step within that mercy to be able to help our endurance, even in amongst the proud, even amongst the arrogant, in and amongst the things of this world. Because it directs us right back up to the beginning of that psalm. I lift up my eyes to you. Lord, I lift up my eyes to you whose throne is in heaven. My dependence upon you, Lord. My security is in you, Lord. My peace is in you, Lord. And I know that the provision of mercy only comes from you. And the provision of my life and the leadership of my life only comes from you, not the things of this world. So our dependence upon God continues to invite us into that presence of God and to also say, thanks be to God. Have a blessed day.